Welcome to HKB. This episode, we have another collaboration with the Asian Cinema Circle, and we're covering everyone's top 5 fight scenes. So, welcome to Hong Kong Blu-rays, everybody. This is a channel where we cover all things Hong Kong cinema and some other films in between. If you enjoy, please consider subscribing, and the biggest favour you can do us is by giving us a like. It gets us noticed on YouTube and heads us towards getting monetized, where when we do, we can give you much more better quality videos and hopefully prizes eventually.
At the time of filming, most of the Asian Cinema Circle group should be joining in with this theme of video. Sure, you're all familiar with those guys by now, but they are...
So we have Will from Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. We have Andrew from Outlet Reviews. We have the Fanatical Dragon. We've got the newest member, Al from Dem's Fighting Words. We have Jason from Martial Arts Theatre 3000. Gary from Film Fan Dojo, and Huss from A Touch of Film. All great channels, and we will put links to their videos, and if any miss out, we'll put a link to their channel so you can find them as well.
As we couldn't agree on the same fight scenes, we've done our own separate lists, haven't we?
Yep, we did.
So, I will start the ball rolling with my number 5, which is a fight scene from the film Gorgeous, starring Jackie Chan versus Brad Allen. I really like this scene. It was the first Hong Kong film you put on for me all those years ago.
Yep.
And yeah, I just really like this because it's a really good scene. It's a really good fight. I like that Jackie was sort of losing, Brad Allen was, seemed to be the stronger person, and they'd had an earlier fight, and Brad Allen being smaller than Jackie, I think, it really affected Jackie, so he trained up for this next fight. And yeah, I really liked how, Jackie was wearing white, Brad was wearing black, bit of a yin and yang thing.
Yeah.
And how fast-paced it was. And then after Jackie being initially sort of defeated in the fight, he falls back against newspapers and things, and he sees something about smiling, doesn't he? So then he comes back at Brad and he's like this, like, ah. And it really unnerves Brad. He's like, what's going on? And he was then able to take advantage and win the fight. And in the during the fight, he's like throwing Brad all around him, which really made me laugh.
Yeah, it's good tempo on that fight scene, and it's full of character.
Yeah.
Good choice. As for my 5th position, I'm going with a Jet Li film. I'm going with 1982's Shaolin Temple. There's so many Jet Li films I could have picked, but this one, the ending is really spectacular. I mean, it's epic scale. You've got the Chinese National Wushu team all playing like Shaolin monks and villains, and everything goes. There's flips, there's kicks, there's weapons, and it's all at such a manic pace. And this film was like first collaborated film, I believe, between China and Hong Kong, or at least that's what I've read on the internet. And yeah, Jet Li was at the peak of his physical prowess back when he was like reigning like Wushu champion. And all the rest of the guys, everybody is absolutely amazing in this fight. Has to be seen to be believed.
My number 4 is Way of the Dragon, the fight between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris.
Great choice.
Again, it was Bruce wearing black, Chuck wearing white. Yin and yang thing again, which I really like, representation. And it was in like a historic
Colosseum.
That's the
Yeah,
one.
in
Yeah.
Rome,
So
yeah.
I really like the backdrop. I don't know if it's actually filmed there, but that's where it was meant to be filmed, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they may have filmed on location, but some of it might be studio.
Yeah. But I like the fight. It was quite. I like the warming up and everything. You know, showed them getting all ready for it, and I like the fight. I did find it like quite respectful as well, even though they were going for it, because Chuck gets his shoulder or something damaged, doesn't he?
He gets his arm broke and possibly his leg.
Yeah, and he's still going it, and Bruce is like, no, you don't. Then he ends up,
Yeah, having to end it.
Yeah. And then he covers him up with his coat afterwards. So I like the fight. I like all the different aspects there as well.
Yeah, it's pretty emotional, that.
Yeah.
You can see the look on Bruce's face at the end. Yeah, very good. Okay, you want to know what my number 4 is?
Mm-hmm.
Right, it's a Shaw Brothers film, and it's from 1984. We've covered it on the channel before. It's Gordon Liu in the 8 Diagram Pole Fighter. And it's the end fight, because we have Carl Y in there as well, Philip Kelfei and Johnny Wang Wei. And yeah, I mean, what can you say about the end of the 8 Diagram Pole Fighter? It's spectacular, again, I'm using that word, I'm throwing it around, but it really is amazing. All the staff fighting, the kung fu, flips, kicks, all those coffins piled up.
Yeah.
The desperation, the anger, you can like feel it within fight scene. Obviously they lost Wu Sheng during filming, and the direction of the film changed. And I can feel something a little bit extra there to what I normally do in Shaw Brother films, and I just think they all went for it, and it's truly epic.
Okay, my number 3 is from Millionaires Express, and it's the fight between Yu and Dick Wei. I think it starts up the stairs, doesn't it? A bit of acrobatic work, which I really enjoyed, and then they sort of end up going out onto like a balcony area. And I like all of that sort of Yu sort of on the edge, nearly dropping down, catching the edge, and then kicking Dick Wei through the balustrade bits, and yeah, I just really enjoy it, and it's sort of a bit like,
Yeah, kind of leaves you breathless, doesn't it?
Yeah,
yeah.
Keeping up with it.
Yeah, it's a good choice. I mean, there's a lot of great fight scenes at the end of Shanghai Express. You could pick the whole thing, but it's too long. It's probably a third of the film, so...
I know, and I like the sort of added extra danger with Yu being on the edge.
Yeah.
I know all the fights, like you say, all the fights in that film are really outstanding, but it was just something more being on the edge.
Resonated with you.
Yeah, I really like that.
That's good. Well, my number 3, it's also a huge scale end fight. It's a D&B Films film from 1985, and it's got 2 of our favourite ladies of Kung Fu in it. We have Cynthia Rothrock and Michelle Yeoh in Yes Madam. Again, Dick Wei and Chung Fat, and a whole host of others. What can you say about this, except for this is one of the best fight scenes ever to grace cinema from any country. I mean, the ending, it's brutal, The 2 ladies then, they were like new to Hong Kong cinema, and you really feel like they gave it their all, to make an impression. It almost feels like they're trying to outdo each other, and the amount of injuries on set for that fight scene, was pretty high, and Tiffany got hurt herself, Michelle got hurt.
Yeah.
I think there's tons of people got hurt, and you can see the pain on screen. It's whatever you think of the film, that end fight is tremendous and timeless. It'll always be a classic. So what's your number 2?
Well, funnily enough, my number 2 is that very same end fight scene from Yes Madam.
Well, yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, anything you'd like to add about it?
Just completely everything you said. I feel though, like you were saying about trying to outdo each other, they were probably also trying to prove that they could be as good as any of the male counterpart actors.
Fair comment.
You know, like we can be just as good, we can do just as many sort of stunts and fights and things.
I think they more than proved that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I really enjoy that scene.
Alright. So you want my number 2?
Yes, please.
Yeah? Okay. Another film from 1985, starring Jackie Chan, and it's Police Story, and of course I'm talking about the end mall fight.
Yes.
I can't watch that end fight without starting to fight myself.
What, in the chair?
Yeah. You know, with against Fong Hakon and all his cronies. And all the glass getting broken, and then trying to protect like Bridget Lynn, and it's so desperate and it's so kinetic, and they're all coming at him. It's you know, fight scenes kind of before that to me were I'll fight you, stop, fight you, stop, I'll fight you, stop, who's next, fight you, stop. This one, you feel like Jackie can't breathe. They're all coming at him. Every angle he's getting booted, kicked. You don't feel he's like fully in control, and the desperation to it and being behind him. When he does score a hit, you're like, yes, you know. And yeah, this for me is Jackie at the peak of his powers. You know, he really knew how to turn cinema around with this film, and so epic. I absolutely adore the end of Police Story. Cracker.
Very nearly made it onto my list.
Yeah. Excellent.
But my number 1 is from
Go on.
Enter the Fat Dragon.
Of course, yes, I should have seen that one coming.
So it's a fight scene between Sammo Hung and Leung Ka-yan. And they're in a warehouse, and they sort of have you know, a really good kung fu fight to start with between them, and then a box of staffs gets kicked open. So Leung Ka-yan has a staff fighting away, and then another box sort of gets knocked up into the air, and it contains a load of metal rings.
Yeah.
And I just love that. Sammo has the ring. There's a little bit of comedy with it. We all know I love my comedy.
Yeah.
Where he's throwing the ring around his body, and Leung Ka-yan's watching and like,
just open mouth, like
oh.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just really makes me laugh. And I find the fight with the staff and the ring so clever. You know, it's going over Leung and it's all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very technical.
It's very technical, and I
must
love
have been very
that.
hard to do. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And yeah, I just really enjoy the whole thing, and then Sammo ends up with the staff and the ring.
Yeah, well, that is a good choice. I should have seen it coming. I didn't, but yeah, fantastic film, fantastic end fight. Good choice. And for me, for my number 1 pick, going to 2005, and it'd be the first collaboration between Wilson Yip and Donnie Yen. So we're talking Xiaopo Lan, SPL, and it might surprise you to know it's a fight with Wu Jing. I know it's not like the ultimate fight in the film, the end fight is against Sammo, but just that fight in the alley with Wu Jing, the way he walks in, the lighting, the setting, the mood, the atmosphere. Wu Jing's killed off so many characters in that film, and you know he's a serious killer. He's a proper assassin. Donnie's at the end of his tether. Everything's gone wrong. He needs to sort stuff out. He's going up against him. Wu Jing's got a knife. You know, like he kills everybody up with in the film. Donnie gets out his baton, and they go hell for leather. The pace of that fight, it's blinding, and it's so atmospheric, and it's got what I like to refer to as the 3 stages of Donnie Yen fight scenes. You get stage 1, the exchange. There's always, you know, a bit of back and forth where Donnie and his opponent like feeling each other out. You know, he gets hurt, Hung gets hurt, it's a bit back and forth, you don't know which way it's going to go. And then you get the stage 2, the I'm in charge cockiness side of things, where Donnie starts doing these like spinning fists like Sugar Ray Leonard, and you know, he's like hopping around, he knows he's gonna own it. I love it when he does that. It kind of just draws me in, and I'm like, wow, you know, this is, he's got to grips with it. You know, he didn't know where it's going to go, and I'm just so, you know, enthralled by that. And then it's got stage 3, and it's like punishment time. And we know when Donnie dishes out punishment, he means business, and boy, does he dish out the punishment against Wu Jing at the end of that fight. Absolutely tremendous. Really, really love that fight, and that's why it's made my number 1. You know, a one-on-one fight. It's my number 1. You know, another day we might have like another list, but when we did this, we thought we'd just do what came to the top of our heads, and you know, obviously that came to the top of my head for a reason, as did yours, and that's our list, guys. We're looking forward to hearing what everybody else has to say, because we know that, you know, everybody's going to have a different list out there, and we're not saying ours is the ultimate, it's just ours, our own personal choice. And on that note, we'd like to hear all your choices. Please put it down in the comments below. We're really interested to know what everybody else has got in their list, and can't wait to see what the other channels have got lined up for us. Right, so just before we go, we'd like to run through a few honourable mentions that we both came up with ourselves. Shaz was very keen on Executioners from Shaolin, as you know, you like that fight with Wang Yu against Lole,
Yes.
you know, playing Pai Mei, which good choice, you know. Just didn't quite make the cut, and you also surprised me by coming up with Shaolin Wooden Men when you mentioned that in the
Yes.
major list.
Yes, I know they weren't people, but I liked the bit when Jackie goes through the chamber fighting with the different wooden men, because to me it was still a lot of fighting himself to get through it. But I thought, maybe.
Yeah, you liked the staging of that. You were quite impressed and taken with it, weren't you?
Yeah, and it was a lot of work for him on his own to get through. But I thought I won't put that in my list because they weren't actual people.
Which is fair dues. And you know, there's some other ones that nearly made my list and didn't quite get there, but I feel like I should mention Jackie versus Benny the Jet Arquides in Dragons Forever. Nearly everybody else prefers the Wheels on Meals fight. For me, I prefer the fight in Dragons Forever. I think it's harder, I think it's tougher. Pacing is a little bit quicker, and I really feel like they mean it a little bit more, like, you know, so it gets me on the edge of my seat a little bit more. I like that one. Pedicab Driver, Sammo Hung versus Billy Chow, that nearly made the list. Can't think of another fight scene that's quite as frantic. But I haven't watched it in a long time, so that's probably the only reason I didn't add it into this list. I also really like the end fight, Secret Rivals, but you've never seen that.
No.
So it's John Liu, Wong Tao, and Hong Jong Lee, 2 heroes against 1 villain, and it's fantastic. It was in our video top 5 Kung Fu that we would want.
Oh, right,
I still want Secret Rivals, so please, Eureka, if you're or 88, you know, can get it done for us. We'd like that a lot. I also had a UMG one that I really thought would be good, which is the fight at the end of Right and Wrongs with UMG versus Melvin Wong. I thought that was an epic fight. You know, nobody at that time had seen Melvin Wong do fighting on screen, and he'd worked out specifically for that film. And I thought audiences in Hong Kong must have been blown away and thought, what's going on here? Like, you know, and I really loved that fight. And there was another Donnie Yen film as well that I nearly picked. Tiger Cage 2, you know, Yu Ping's Tiger Cage 2. There's a lot of fights in that, but when Donnie and John Salvetti have the samurai swords and you've got that big fan behind them. That is a great fight. That was nearly the one. It was just a whisker between that and the one with Wu Jing for me. So yeah, honourable mentions. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like. Always pleased when you let us know, and it does get the channel noticed. Picks us up in the algorithms. Hopefully you'll join us next time, and we look forward to seeing you all then. And remember folks, be true and buy the blue.